Hey everybody, welcome back to Sylvia's Sweet Sweet Movie Reviews. So today we're going to be reviewing Elvis and a Priscilla movie. So I would like to start with the actors for said movie. So for the Elvis movie, we have Austin Butler, who plays Elvis. And in the Priscilla movie, we have Jacob Elderdy. I don't know how to pronounce that. Um, Basically, I feel like both Elvises were great for what they were. So in the movie Elvis, Austin Butler, to me, the movie Elvis, the Elvis movie was basically about him as an artist. They touched on his background, how he, because of his father cashing a bad check, he was locked up and for a while, and then his mother couldn't afford to sit there and still live in a Caucasian neighborhood and got a job and was able to sit there and get a house, but in the African American community, where he was then surrounded by R&B and blues and gospel music of black people. So Austin Butler truly, to me, captured Elvis when he was on the stage, that doing the performance, which landed him to have to go to Germany in the first place. Basically, when he's like on a stage and he's like, ah, like you see, he put in his whole heart, body, and soul. And I'm like, Austin Butler didn't just portray Elvis, he became Elvis. Like, you hear how his voice, that in those times, in the era where Elvis was young, they took a little bit fast type of speed, but then you see as the years went by how his voice changed through how he talked in interviews to the ending when he's like arguing with the colonel, how his voice is now like deeper and a bit slower. So I noticed the change with his demeanor in how he portrayed himself and presented himself. I feel like Jacob Elderdy, don't know how to pronounce his name, sorry. I think he did a phenomenal job portraying Elvis as well. To me, in Priscilla, his Elvis was basically from the eyes of Priscilla. Priscilla knew he was a performer and everything like that, but we see the behind the scenes, him as a human, him as a husband, him as a dad, right? We see it through her eyes, through the Priscilla movie. So I truly feel like with the Elvis movie, it told a phenomenal story. I really feel like the Colonel truly, what was his name? Colonel Tom Parker. I feel like he truly, and I mean truly, was the bad guy because it's like, I didn't understand why he did the things that he did. I truly didn't. This is my now spoiler-free review of Elvis. The movie as a whole, phenomenal. The actors' portrayal, phenomenal. The way they kind of, I wouldn't say speed through the story, but they kind of like the flow of the story was a bit fast. And I get why it was fast, because they were basically touching on key points of his rise to fame and his career. So, like I said, the story as a whole, perfect. The music, the characters portraying these real life people, the actors, my bad, I apologize, the actors portraying these real life people, I honestly think they did a phenomenal job. The music soundtrack, like I just mentioned, was on point. I was actually really surprised that they had like new music in the like basically the remix version, the new remix versions of old songs from that era they added into the movie, which surprised me greatly. So I have to give Elvis the movie a 4.5 out of 5. And the reason why it's not a solid 5 is because they, to me, could have touched more on him as a person, a husband, and a father, because they only showed them getting him and Priscilla getting married. They say, oh, he found love, and next thing you know, they're showing, them together, them married, that with Lisa Marie. Like they just kind of like sped through that because you could tell that the movie solely focused on his career, and then just the added people, and they put in added people that were added to his life, but they didn't really touch on him as a human who was going through a lot as an artist. So that's why it missed the score for me, because if they would have added more, because he was very he was in and out going on tours, but he for the most part was sort of involved and had Priscilla around and everything like that. So it was like they didn't really dive into the fact that he's a husband and a father. That was just really like my only issue. I love the fact that he stood up when he was affected, when different stuff like in history happened. Like I said, to me, it was a solid 4.5 out of 5 for me. As a movie, the movie was 2 hours and 39 minutes. So this is now my spoiler version, of Elvis. Like I said, with the Colonel, what made me mad about the Colonel, Tom Parker, was the fact that he could have been, Elvis looked at him as a godfather, especially when his mother passed away. Gladys Presley, I believe her name was. Gladys Presley, her name was. When she passed away, he was like a godfather to Elvis. He could have been honest and said that he was an alien. He wasn't born in America. He could have set up the tours. He could have set up the tours around the world and just stayed behind. I don't get like why he couldn't do that. He could have set up everything, hired security, and he would have made more money making him go around the country. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to see around the world. And of course he's going to get mad when he realized that he can't do what he want, the next stage in his career, due to you holding him back. It was just so stupid. It was really stupid to me that you're going to hold this person back because you don't have your papers, like, that's just stupid to me. Real stupid to me. It was just really controlling and stupid to me. He really could have just set it all up that, everything. He could have set everything up and said, look, I don't like, he could have said, or he could have just said, I don't like to travel, but you go. This is your dream, you go. With the money he could have made around the country, he could have paid back his debt to the hotel owner or whatever. I'm like, you was dumb. You're dumb. Then to me, what I loved about the movie is the fact that they really emphasized that he really loved African American music, that he would literally go to speakeasies and different stuff like that, and like that's his like woosah, like to get away. That was his that was his happy place. Truly, to me, that was his happy place. And I'm just like, for back then, because sorry, USA, we are the most racist country that has ever existed. They literally, in one of the newspapers, said he is a Caucasian guy with black hips, sinful hips. And I'm just like, so he got rhythm and soul, and all of a sudden he is the devil. Okay, whatever. I was like, that's bull. So like I said, overall, Austin Butler, Tom Hanks, Olivia Juge, I don't know how to pronounce her name. Basically, like Alton Mason that played Little Richard, like Shanaka Ducure. Like a lot of people. There's a lot of people names. In this movie, Richard Roxburgh, Helen Thompson, Luke Bracey, all of these phenomenal actors did a phenomenal job on this movie. Loved it. Now we're going to go to Priscilla. This is my non-spoiler free review of Priscilla. So Priscilla's story is slower than Elvis, because like I said before, Elvis' story is basically kind of fast-paced through his career, how he rose up to fame, how his career, went up and down, right? So like I mentioned earlier, when he was like really giving his heart and soul on a performance where he was basically being a rebel, like I said, one thing I will give Elvis is the fact that he was a rebel. He was a rebel of his time. He wasn't a racist. He loved black people. He loved white people. He didn't care what color you were, because he was raised around that stuff. So my whole thing is that he was a rebel. He was like, look, y'all are honestly doing the most. Music speaks to me. It's in my soul. So come on, So the Priscilla movie is an hour and 53 minutes long. It felt a bit longer than the Elvis movie, only because it was more slow paced. Because with the Priscilla movie, it's from her eyes, where she was born, where she was raised, why she was in Germany, how she met Elvis, all of that stuff. So I love Kaylee Spaney as Priscilla. Olivia DeJonge, I think for the movie that she was in, she was a good Priscilla. But I honestly think that this is because Priscilla movie is from Priscilla's Presley's eyes. She gave more of an insight in the behavior she had, what was going through her mind, how she felt. I think that Kaylee Spinney did a phenomenal job as Priscilla. I think she truly, to me, captured an innocent teenage girl being thrust into the limelight of the famous world by Elvis and dealing with a whole lot of stuff. And I have to say, the movie as a whole, I give it a solid 3.5 out of 5 to me, because yes, Jacob Eldery, Kaylee Spinney as the main two in this movie, they did a phenomenal job as the characters that they were portraying. I truly believe Jacob Eldery playing Elvis was the human behind the scenes partner, husband, and then father, to, like, you really see what was going on behind closed doors, how she fell in love with him, why she loved him, why she stuck around. Like, you see all of that in this movie. I think that they did a phenomenal job as leads, and they did a phenomenal job making me believe that they are these characters, these human, real-life characters, not fictional characters, human, real-life characters that literally existed. And one of them is still alive. So it's like, I really loved that it was more slow-paced. I really loved seeing everything through her eyes, because it gave a lot of perspective to when I watched Elvis, because I watched Priscilla movie before I watched Elvis. So to me, honestly, they did a good job. Story-wise, I love that they touched on a lot of key stuff that obviously was missing and was going to be missing from the Elvis movie. So, the story of how she basically dated him, became his wife, all of that stuff, I think the Priscilla being involved in how the pace they went, the direction they went, really made me feel like, oh my goodness, like this was her life. This was her life. She went through this. So now I'm getting into this Priscilla spoiler review. So one thing I have to say is Elvis should have been in jail. I don't care if you're a fan of him or not. After that performance he did, where they then wanted to lock him up, and the Colonel, Tom Parker, made an arrangement for him to be in the military for 2 years. And he went to Germany for 2 years. And in that time, he met Priscilla. When he met Priscilla, he was 24 and she was 14. Do the math. It's one thing if she lied about her age. I could believe that, because he's a big star and she wanted to be in his aura or anything like that. But she never lied about her age. And he wanted in the movie, they emphasized that he liked the ideology of the fact that she's a pure, innocent, virgin baby doll. Literally, she's in her senior year, because by the time she moved to the States to be with him, she's going to school, and they're like, that's the girl that Elvis is dating, and blah, blah, blah. Like, y'all don't find that weird? Like, honestly, to me, her father, James Frederick Wagner, and her mother, Anna Lillian Iverson, they should be in jail too. Because I have a daughter. I have a son. If that's like any celebrity that is 10 years older than my child, and my child is underage, and they're trying to talk, they're trying to date, take out to the movies, listen to music, hang out with my underage child, need to be in jail. Jail. I don't care how famous you are. A lot of these celebrities are being ousted for being perverts, for doing all kinds of crazy nonsense. Elvis only got away with that because of the era he was raised in. Because as long as she got her parents' permission, they allowed it. They allowed it. And I think that all three of them, her mother, her father, and Elvis, should have been in jail. I'm not going to blame the teenage, love-struck teenager for the things that happened. I'm going to blame the parents, the grown people that knew he was 24 and she's 14. The only twisted, sick resolution about the whole situation is the fact that in the movie, by and through Priscilla, she has said they never had sex. They never had sex until they were married. They cuddled, they made out, they maybe did oral stuff. We don't know. They didn't touch too much on that because all he said in the movie was when she was just like, I have needs, I want to be touched, I want blah, blah, blah. But it's like, girl, you still underage. Calm your little horny teenage self down. My whole thing is that he said that we're not going to do that, but we could do other things. And in my mind, I was just like, ugh, yeah, like, like, come on. No, that was his child bride. It's just sick. It's just sick to even think about the whole situation. Is like truly, truly sick. But overall, to me, her story of her, like, okay, here's what I didn't touch in Elvis that they really touched in Elvis. I'm backtracking. He was taking care of his father's new girl after his mother passed away. He was taking care of cousins. He was providing for a lot of people. And the reason why I'm now bringing it up with the Priscilla is because you get to see really, like, they were around and they touched little bits and pieces in Elvis of him taking care of this family. But through Priscilla's eyes, you see a little bit more in depth how y'all really living off of this man. Y'all are basically like his bodyguards and playmates where he want to sit there and do stuff crazy like break down a house. Y'all like are his little cheerleaders, groupies, but y'all live in the house. I'm not going to say if you get famous, you shouldn't take care of your family. Because if I got famous through my books and become, by the grace of God, the next J.K. Rowling, yeah, I'm going to take care of my family. But it's going to be my kids, my partner, spouse, my parents, and my siblings. I have 2 brothers. That's about it. I love my cousins, love them to death. But unless there's like a specific like job, like being an accountant, running the business, like basically keeping everything in the family, I don't see why all these people with all my relatives would be in this mansion, you know? I didn't get it. But through Priscilla's eyes, a cage is still a cage, whether it has brass, black, or gold bars. In the movie, she was practically a prisoner. The colonel wanted to keep her a secret because of the fact that Presley had an image to uphold. See my notes for the Elvis movie? I wrote a lot of notes. A lot of notes. And then for the Priscilla movie, I wrote some notes. So here's my issue with the Priscilla movie. Basically, a friend of Elvis asked Priscilla, do she want to meet Priscilla? She said she has to ask her parents. Right? Terry West is the man that introduced Priscilla to Elvis. When she sat there and said she had to ask her parents, her age should have, and her parents, I give her parents a little credit about them saying no at first, because she's 14. I love that Elvis called her Scylla. You don't hear him call her Scylla in the Elvis movie at all. You just know, like, by the narration and stuff like that, her name is Priscilla. But this is why I said, like, I really like the Priscilla movie, because they touched on the intimacy and the relationship between the two. He called her Scylla. He never really called her Priscilla. He called her, I think, Baby Bird and Priscilla. And Scylla for short. So here's what also I have to say in both movies. So in both movies, they touched on the fact that Elvis was given pills. So in the Elvis movie, he was given pills to get to sleep. Right? So I believe it was to get to sleep or to have some energy because he wasn't getting enough sleep. Because he was in a car. Right? He was introduced to pills. By Priscilla being jet lagged, he gave her a pill when they were in Germany to help keep her awake when he kept her out late at night. And then when she went to Memphis, Tennessee to visit him, he gave her something to make her fall asleep. And she was asleep for 2 days. 2 days. She was gambling at the age of 17. He tried to win her affection through his absence with a dog. She wanted to get a job. I give Priscilla some credit. She wanted to get a job at a department store. She was just like, because she's bored just in the house all the time, not doing nothing. Basically, he was grooming her to be a housewife. She asked him, she didn't really ask him, she said she was thinking about having a job at a department store. He said he need her to be available to him 24/7. Whenever he calls, whenever he needs to talk, whenever he needs to vent, she's supposed to be there, available for him at all times. I don't care if you Michael Jackson. I don't care if you Elvis Presley. I don't care if you're one of the damn Beatles, Led Zeppelin, whoever, Chris Brown. Are you serious? So she's supposed to just sit around all day, and it's not like she really could really travel and do stuff, right? She was set on a limit of how much she was allowed to spend a week or a month, which I thought was smart. But she couldn't, because she's semi-famous, she couldn't really travel around like that. Vernon, his dad, girlfriend D, because I love how in the Elvis movie they didn't even touch on who she was, but in the Priscilla movie she emphasized the fact that his mom passed away before he went to Germany, because the whole situation really affected his mom, and she kept drinking until she died. But in the Priscilla movie, he didn't touch really on, like, I guess how she died or whatever. But in the Elvis movie, they made it very clear how she died. Basically, like, his dad Vernon wound up getting a girlfriend named D, and D was a bitch. That was one thing that I was just like, She was just like, Priscilla's playing with the dog that Elvis gave her, and she's like, girl, you better get from right here, because she was kind of near the gate, and there was like fans and stuff like that, and people taking pictures and stuff, and she was just like, girl, we don't get away from that gate, you got to do that in the house. Like, she was legit like forced to stay in the house 24/7. That would drive anybody mad. Anybody mad. You see the same freaking walls every single day. It don't matter if it's a small house, a mansion, it's the same house. You are barely allowed to go outside and enjoy your life. Do something for yourself. That's why I give Priscilla the movie. I give Priscilla Billy, I don't know how to pronounce her last name before she got married, but Priscilla Presley, I give her the utmost respect for her realizing that basically he was cheating on her after she had their daughter Lisa Marie. He wasn't really attracted to her. He wasn't trying to really have sex with her anymore. He started cheating and doing more stuff or whatever, that she was just like, look, I'm going to leave. And he was like, do whatever you think is right for you. He didn't care. He didn't care that she left. He only cared when he realized that she wasn't coming back. And then he shows up. Now, here's the thing between both of the movies that I found interesting. When Priscilla leaves him in the Priscilla movie, she was at like a whole hotel or something like that. He was at a hotel, and she was told that he wanted to see her, and he tries to have sex with her. She pushes him off of her. And when he passes out, she sits there and she waits for him to wake up, and she tells him that she's leaving. And he's like, am I losing you to another man? And she's like, no, you're losing me to a life I want to live. I want to have my own life. I don't want to like live in your world or your shadow or whatever. And she was like, I'm taking Lisa Marie Presley with me. So I give her so much credit for having the confidence to be like, I have to leave, because if I never leave, if I don't walk away now, if I never leave, I would never, like, she was like, if I don't walk away now, I would never leave. And she left out the hotel room. But in the Elvis movie, it happened while they was at the house, Graceland house. And I'm just like, I'm going to go with the Priscilla movie on how they ended, because to me, I don't think they might have asked her where she broke up with him. Okay, they probably just took that and just ran with it and assumed that because she was leaving the house for good or something like that. I don't know, or it could have both been true, because at the end of the movie, she does leave out of the house, takes her bags, and she drives off. So it could have both happened. She could have broke up with him then and then grabbed her stuff and left out the house. And the Elvis movie only took the part where she left at the house and just left. But Priscilla movie, they touched on how she's like, basically the marriage is over, I'm done, and then went to the house, and then they went back and forth again or whatever, and then she actually left. So it could have been both. Overall, both movies were fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. The Priscilla movie was more of a romance musical. Part of the reason why I don't give it like a 4 stars is because they did not let Jacob Eldery really perform the music of Elvis. I get it; it was a Priscilla movie, but like it was like why wasn't at least one song of his in the movie? But the Elvis movie was more of a musical drama because his life was dramatic. So overall, both movies I give it honestly phenomenal job on both. I would thoroughly watch both movies again. I have to give all the actors everything that portrayed Elvis, Aaron Presley very, very well, and Priscilla and Presley very, very well. I feel sad about these characters because, and given the time that they were in, their marriage would have most likely never worked. Especially because the colonel, I can't talk. The colonel, yeah, all because of that. Yeah, I can't do anything about that. But overall, I truly, truly enjoyed these 2 movies for what they were, and I'm thoroughly happy that I watched it. And I honestly recommend for you guys to watch it too. See you later, you guys.